Okay, so I'm making this video for Reedy, but also for anyone else that might be in the future or now working on Crystal DTF listings. And I'd like to show you, kind of the full process so that you get every aspect of it. So this is going to be long. I'll try to cut some of it down and make it and pause as I'm doing things. So there might be some starts and stops. But for the most part, I'm going to try to show you my entire process from start to finish of creating a new listing, or at least the parts that I do that I'm comfortable with and I'm familiar with. So let's get started. The first thing we have is this "That's My Grandson Out There" design. So this is the design, and it's featured as "That's my grandson" and "That's my granddaughter." So there's two kinds, and it's also kind of designed for dark, and we want to offer it as also a design for light. So the first thing we want to do is create the mock-up. We don't have to create a custom mock-up every time, but I want to show you how to do it because I don't want us to be stuck using the same mock-ups every time. And so I've just gone to ChatGPT. I'm in the Hello at Crystal DTF. We're signed in, and I've selected Pro. And I have uploaded all of our previous, not all, I've uploaded a selection of our previous mockups. And I've uploaded some with models and some with flat lays. And the idea is, to let the AI just make the decision about whether to render a flat lay or to render a model. We'll just let them make the decision. And so I've uploaded these. And then I've also uploaded the image that I'm working on. And I said we make amazing customized mockup templates, some featuring models and some with just, well, I misspelled that, with props and flat lays. I'm looking for a new custom mockup template. The last image I uploaded is the inspiration for this new mockup. It's a baseball image, and I want you to create a new baseball themed mockup template that will work well with this image. I'm on Pro. I'm going to do create image. Don't necessarily always have to use Pro, but you're going to get better results, but you will hit limits. Okay, here we go. So the images I selected here just really give a wide variety. But these two in particular, one shows the same shirt on a model and one's a flat lay. And so I've just, I put thoughts into the variety that I show. We've got some crew necks, and we've got some t-shirts, we've got some close-ups, we've got some that are a little backed off. We've got complex decorated scenes. All of this stuff really plays into your final result, like what you feed into the model. Okay, and I think I've gotten a great result. Yeah, I think it's great. And now I'm also going to say, perfect, now render one featuring a male model rather than a flat lay. And we'll just give it a run on that. Now while ChatGPT is still working, I've gone to Gemini. And I've uploaded the mockup template. I've said this is a mockup template. It's obviously designed to go with the black shirt. Generate a list of colors, both names and hex codes, of different color shirts that will work well with this background and set. I want to be able to switch the shirt out and offer different versions of this mockup, but the only thing that will change is the shirt color. We will be choosing other shirt colors that work well in this scene. And definitely want to run this on Pro all the time. Okay, and Chat has given us another great variation. And so we'll just use the same shirt colors that Gemini's coming up with for this one as well. All right, so let's download this one. Yeah, it looks great. And Gemini's come back with a lot of great options that we can use in that scene for the mock-up. So I'm going to leave that tab open and go to Gemini again. And I'm going to take the original mock-up and upload it. And let me think of a prompt. I want Gemini to generate this larger because when Gemini creates them, it's a larger image. This is 1254 by 1254, so I just want a larger version. I'm going to try just telling it to enhance this image, not change anything. Just give me the same image larger with higher detail and realism. Now while that's working, I'm going to start naming these. So I'm just going to call this. So I'm just naming both of these. So So this one is dark wood slats baseball mock-up. This is dark dugout baseball mock-up. Then I'm putting OG at the end, so no, it's the original. And so, you know, when you're naming things, you have to name them more than just dark mock-up, you know, or dark baseball mock-up. How many of those might we have? So at least I've given the wood slats and the dugout as kind of interesting names. And I've also named them both starting with this dark. And I think that's a great way to keep them like next to each other alphabetically. Now Gemini's finished enhancing this image. And let's just take a look. We're going to make sure that it's actually better. That's something that you really have to watch. So let's look at them side by side. And yeah, I actually think the one on the right is a little lighter in some areas, so the lighting's a little bit better. And then of course if we zoom in and we look at this one at 100%, and we look at this one at 100%, and we focus on like a detail area, you know, we've got a lot better detail. Obviously it's larger, but I think that it's just in general, you know, better lighting. It's not perfect, but it's given us the image. It's given us more detail out of Gemini. You know, as you can see, we just got a much larger image. Okay. So now I'm just going to rename this one and copy, and rename this one and paste. And I'll take away the OG. I'm going to call it black. I'm actually going to put that, yeah, we'll put that black we'll put that black in the front. Okay, so I'm just going to put this black word in the front. And so that's going to be black, dark wood slats, baseball mock-up. Okay, now let's open this with Photoshop. And we have one very glaring thing to watch for when we're using Gemini to generate anything. And I just zoom it in with Control plus, Control minus. I'm holding spacebar and using the hand tool to move around. And then I've selected my lasso. And I'm just going to come in here really tight and just take this out. And I actually wish that I'd done a better job on the most important part is probably right here. So I'm going to hold Alt and just get in a little tighter there and see if I can indicate to it that it's just this. You know, we want to let Photoshop's remove tool know that we just want that gone. We don't want you to take out this tip of this baseball bat. But you know, this is a tiny detail. No one's going to be looking down here anyway. We shouldn't be too worried. It did a fine job. Totally fine. All right, so now we've got our base model mock-up, and I'm just going to hit File. Well, we'll just merge this down. And I'm just going to hit File Save to save right over that original. And notice, you know, I'm working in a clean downloads folder. You know, my downloads folder is clean. This is my working folder. And I'm going to work on this project and then finish it and then clean it out again. Okay, so I'm still in Gemini. I'm going to do a new chat. And I'm going to come up with another prompt. What we need to do is now generate the other colors for the mock-up template. And here's my prompt. We are making a mock-up set of t-shirts. I have uploaded the original, changed the color of the t-shirt to, and I've left a blank spot for myself. Everything else must stay exactly the same to ensure exact compatibility with the other mock-ups in this set. And now I'm going to upload the image. There's our mock-up. Open. And then I'm going to change the color to Heather Gray. Create image, Pro, play. So to speed this process up, now I'll actually use two Gemini windows. So I'm just going to go Gemini here. I'm going to upload that original, not the original, the one that's been modified, sorry. And then I'm going to grab this next color and create image, make sure I'm on Pro and hit play. And I usually just run 2 at a time. Alright, so here's this one. And it is putting that Gemini square on every single one these days. That's not great. So we're downloading it, and it takes a second to download. But I want to show you the way to check to see if they're good. So the thing to do is to look over here, have your preview pane open, and just literally like flip between them. And if the only thing your eye spots is the shirt color changing, then we're in good shape. And each time we're going to do a new chat, so you can just come up and you can hit copy and then new chat and then paste and hit create image. Pop over here, grab the charcoal, Control C, throw it on this, upload the image, keep going back to the same one every time. You don't want to keep regenerating, and then switch to Pro if that, and sometimes it makes me do that, sometimes it doesn't. Alright, and then over here, I'm just going to make sure I've got that one downloaded. I do. I'm going to do new chat, create image, paste what I've got. Nope. I'm going to come over here, copy, paste what I've got, grab the next color, paste it in, upload the image, same one, boom, open, Pro, play. So I'm downloading my last one, and I'm going to go check them. So I have my sort date modified, and I'm just going to click on my downloads folder over here, and by clicking off of it, clicking on it, it usually makes sure that they're sorted properly. I'm not sure what's happening here. Here we go, descending. All right, so I've got all my latest ones here, and I'm just going to do that flip through and just make sure that all I'm seeing is the t-shirt color changing. Alright, so let's name them. So I've still got my reference open if I need to go back and see what these names are if I can't remember. But I'm just going to paste the name and then do gray. I'm going to paste the name and then do white. Paste the name and then do navy. Now I'm going to open this black one up with Photoshop. And then I'm just going to hit new layer. And I'm going to delete this layer. And then I'm going to take all of them and drop them on the stage. And just hit enter on each one. Making sure they line up. And it's kind of another double check. And I'm going to move this black one up to the top because I think it's the best. And I'm going to move this red one. And then I'm going to go with white. And then sand. And then heather. And let these other options fall. But I'm just making a little bit of choice about the layout of the different ones. Now we'll go get rid of those Gemini problems. And we'll just start selecting. And I think we could probably just reselect from now on. So we'll just hit remove that. And then we'll save. Merge down, save, close. And we'll just go through each one. And perhaps it'll be faster to just select this area and do Control C off this one, and then double click in here and do Control Shift V, and then Control E and Control S, and then we'll click on this one and we'll Control Shift V, Control E, Control S, and then we'll double click on this one, Control Shift V. And now's a good time to save the PSD. So we'll just save it as. We'll just do it right in our downloads folder. And we'll just take off the black. And I'll explain why we named them that way. It makes it easy to see what's happening here. We've got black, red, white, sand. So really makes that easy. So now I'm just going to select the top layer and then grab my shape tool And I'm just going to draw it out. It's you go a little bigger than you would normally, actually put a design on a shirt. You go a little closer to the collar, and you can go a little bit lower than you would normally do. And I just drew out a shape. And the reason I did that is it's just a editable object. It looks about right. I think it's placed pretty well. I mean, I can sit here and refine this and try to make sure it's placed extremely well, but it should be fine. And I'm just going to right click. This is the moment where I would convert it to a smart object. Even if it needed to go with a mock-up that was conforming, okay? I might be able to show you that, but even if this was going to be needing to be like twisted or tilted or distorted, perspective warped, any of those tools, before you do anything else, you want to go ahead and convert this to a smart object, okay? And so now that it's a smart object, we can go into it and we can just add an empty layer and then delete the rectangle and then save it. And that's the best workflow. And let's just change this and call it artwork. You could call it design, artwork. Design is probably better. All right. Now let's just use the mock-up. We're going to double click into it. We're going to go find our design. And sorry, I'm struggling there. Here we go. That's my granddaughter out there. We're going to just push that. Yeah, it should be just fine right where it's laying, actually. And then we'll just hit save. And it's on there. And we're not going to do any special stuff to try to blend it in. We actually want the design to stand out. We also want to take a look and make sure that our canvas is exactly, 2048 by 2048. So it's a perfect square. That's great. So this mock-up is done, okay? And I would save it right in this state. So we're going to save it. And then I take the design off and then do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. And we'll just export this as the Dark Wood Slats Baseball mock-up, okay? And now we're ready to clean up. We've actually got all of our files done for this. I don't think there's a reason to save this OG. I'm happy with it. I'm just going to delete this one, and I'll delete the rest of these. And then I'm going to put these two in my mockups template folder. And then we're going to go to the drive. And we're going to go to Crystal DTF. And it's an artwork. And then we have the Crystal DTF Makers free. And then we're going to go to our ZZ free mockups. And we're going to upload our new mockup in there. And this folder is not set to share or for edit. It's just for anyone with the link as a viewer. Of course, all of us are able to edit. Okay, so now I've completed another set, and I just wanted to show you this step right here. So I'm going to draw that rectangle out. Okay, and this time I'm just going to intentionally get down into his arm. Okay, that's probably too long. I'm literally just trying to show you what to do to deal with, how to deal with certain situations. So this I'll stretch over, and this is before I've converted it to a smart object. So I really want to, you overdo the amount of size that's on, okay? And I have a desire to like kind of tilt this and just perspective warp it slightly. But before I do that, I'm going to convert this to a smart object, okay? I'm going to go in, and I'm actually going to get rid of that rectangle. So we'll just hit plus, we'll get rid of that rectangle, and then I'm going to place the design. And I'm just doing this so that I have a reference. So I'm just looking to have a place, a reference point as I try to, it's nice to have the design on there. So, and this time I'm going to scoot it up pretty high. All right, I'm going to save that. And then what we're going to do with this rectangle is we're just going to take it and we're going to do Control T. And we're going to do Edit, Transform, Perspective. Okay? And I'm just going to barely give it a little bit of touch on this side because he's just kind of barely shifting that way. We don't need to go much. And then I'm going to do edit, transform, free transform. And I'm just going to barely tilt it just a little bit. And I'm actually going to scoot it over a little bit so that it's a little more centered with his collar. So just a little touch to that, okay? And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this and I'm going to put a solid color. And I'm just doing that to demonstrate this one point. I think that we didn't need to get this far down, but I just wanted to show you if you have some hair, if you have a necklace, you know, just literally do a layer mask. So let's just do a layer mask and we'll just reveal all. And then we'll grab our brush tool. We'll just click on the mask. We have our brush tool open. And, or I think so, B, yeah, there we go. All right, and we'll just take that and we'll just paint this area away, you know, so that, you know, if it does overlap down here, you know, we'll just have that mask. Then you could do this to any level of perfection, but that's probably just fine for the purposes of a mock-up. All right, so now we just got a little mask on it. I'm going to take this and delete this color fill. I'm going to make sure to name this design. And then I'm going to save this. And this is the state that we saved the mock-up in. So I'm saving it right now. So I'm going to hit save as. And I'll get rid of the name black. So it's just back to dark dugout. And save that in my downloads folder. And I'm actually probably through at this moment with all of these images. I don't need them anymore. And now I'm going to also turn that off so it just looks blank. And then we're going to do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and just save it as that mock-up. Okay, now let's use the mock-up. So we've got it on there. We're going to crop it. We're going to go in here. We're going to turn our crop tool on. We're going to go 1:1 on our ratio, and we're going to get right in there on that design. Now, every single mock-up is different, and you want to show different amounts of the human, and you're just making a decision here. There's no real rhyme or reason. I mean, for the most part, we want the design to be centered. We're selling the design. We're not selling the human. Now, I love getting that baseball bat in there. So it's just, I mean, this is a very difficult decision. I'd love to show the edge of that bat, but that kind of takes the design out of the center. And I mean, I really, in general, you know, want to encourage you to not be worried about losing your beautiful mock-up and all these great elements that we've worked on. We have them there, and we can, and a shot can be made with those, but we're selling the design. So let's get in close, and let's crop just like this. So we'll crop it, and now we're gonna export it. So this is the actual image that we're putting on the web for this design. So we've stopped making a mock-up, and we've started using it. So somewhere between 60 and 70. I usually stay at 60 these days. 1024 by 1024. It's only 195 kilobytes. And I'm just going to hit save. And it's going to ask me where. And of course, I'm going to go put it in the folder of the actual design. That's my grandson out there. And I'm going to name it. I'm going to actually name it Mockup in the front. So we'll do Mockup. And I'm going to do Dark Dugout. And then I'm going to do the name of the design. And you can truncate that some. So I'm going to go grab that name. This is actually, that's my grandson. Yeah, I just want to grab that text. That's all I'm doing here. And I'm just going to call this Dark Dugout. That's my grandson. You know, so it's not too long, but it's nice and long. and very descriptive. And if somebody searches for that's my grandson, they're going to find it. Okay. Now there's a very specific reason that I chose to use this design for this tutorial. This one's difficult, and this image will definitely not work on all colors. So if we look at this on black and then we change this to white, yeah, it's pretty terrible on white, you know. So we have a lot of work to do on this image to make it work well on a white shirt. So just by changing that background color, we can just see immediately what we need to work on. And I'm going to change it to more of a light so I can see a little bit. And we're going to go after these areas. So I'm just going to click on my auto select and then click on this that's, and then turn auto select right off. And that's just going to help you find the different layers that you have. And we're just going to change this to black. Okay, that was easy enough. And this one's pretty obvious. We're just going to change this one. So we'll just turn on auto select. I guess we could leave that on while we're doing this part. And we're just going to do a color overlay on that. So blending options, color overlay, boom. Now this main text, grandson, let's change it. We're going to do blending options, and we'll do color overlay, and we'll change it to black. And then we'll just adjust these strokes. So this first one, instead of being black, should be white. And then this second one, instead of should being white, it should be black. And that looks pretty great. Okay, and now there's a few other elements. Let's just put this back on pure white. You know, there's a few other elements that are lost. It's this outer white here. So let's look at how to deal with that. So I'm just maintaining. I still have auto select on. That's always something that messes with me really bad. So I'm going to turn that off while I'm nervous about it. And I'm going to save this PSD while I'm thinking about it, to call it That's My Grandson Out There White. Yeah, let's say 4 lights. Save that. And then let's just go into these laces. So, you know, every single image is different, as you know. And I'm just going to put a solid color of black behind on this so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to try to select all the white parts that are supposed to be pure whites. You know, so I'm just going to come in here and make this little selection right there. And then I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to go around and get all of this white part selected. So I'm just going to start going around. I'm holding shift each time that I'm expanding my selection. And I'm going outside the lines, and just, you can see how I'm just being really fast where I can be. And then when I need to get slow and careful, I'm slowing down and making sure that I'm making an accurate selection. Because the last thing we want is any kind of messiness in our images. So see, I'm just going around. I hit shift, and I'm just coming on up. And you shouldn't do this. I remember being new in this, and I would be really slow and careful. Just realize you can always expand your selection. If you made a mistake right here and accidentally selected some of this, well, you can just come with Alt and deselect it. So you don't have to be afraid. Your final is all that matters. And we'll just take this, this selection, we'll hit Control C, Control Shift V, and then we'll do blending options, color overlay, and we'll make it black. And that may be perfect, even though it doesn't seem to be. We see that kind of little fake edge happening right there. I'm just going to merge it down, and we'll just trust it. Let's do merge down. Yeah, it looks fine. Okay, and then we'll turn this, we'll paint this out. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control and select that, And I just want to blend this part in a little bit better. So I'm just going to grab this black color, and I'm just going to take this and maybe use a softer brush, and we'll just paint this right into this. Alright. And then we're going to get rid of this. Delete. Control D. Delete that color fill. Turn this on. I think everything's good. Just Control S. And then we'll put this back. And I'm just going to do the same thing for all the other elements that need it. So this one, I think I'm going to try a different technique. And I'm just going to try to select, with a decent tolerance, the white areas. I'll turn off contiguous, and we'll just click on this pure white and see if we can get most of it. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Usually I don't use, this is kind of a barbaric tactic in my mind, but I'm just going to paint over it. It's going to be fun. I'm just letting myself know that. Alright, we'll save that. And then we'll go back here. And this bottom one, I'm going to have to figure that out because I want to preserve some of those pieces. And this part I'm just going to kind of experiment with. So I'm just going to select around this emblem. And then I'm going to alt select this red star. And we'll just cut it off and we'll put it back on, Control Shift V. And I'm just going to try to invert it. I'm not real sure. Oh yeah, that works for me. That works for me. Alright, let's just merge that down. Control S. And this is our final against whites. Okay, so this image I think is already trimmed. So I'll save the PSD. And I'm just going to check it. So it's 19 inches tall, so we can't make it 15 inches wide. So it's already 19, 14 is the max we're gonna go on this. Looks like there's nothing to do here. We're just gonna export it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually, I think there's different ways to approach this. You know, this is my artwork layer. You know, I can just convert this to a smart object and that should like literally preserve everything and then rasterize it. And then I can do layer mask from transparency, alt select the mask, do image, adjustments, threshold. And that'll just give us one last defense against things being perfect. And now I'm not gonna save the PSD because I'm just literally going to save this as a PNG, okay? And I'm about to wrap this all up because this is the point that I was trying to get to with the whole mock-up tutorial and preparing, you know, something for the internet. I think this has been long enough. Preparing a listing. So we're just going to use this. We want to give them a reference. We'll do this. That's my grandson out there for lights. Put that on here. And line it up with the other. And then we can turn this one off and save. And we'll go back to our little mock-up. And then we will just change this to the light one. And sometimes we want to, if we find something that works well, you know, this, we don't have to show it on the very light. You know, we could show it on, that's a lighter color. Certainly works, you know, just to give them some variety. We don't want to always show them white and black, but for the most part, we do. For the most part, we want to show them the two extremes. We just want to work in, when there's a good opportunity to do so, some other color to give some variety. But in this case, it's so extreme, I'm going to show it on the white and black. So, all right. I think that it would be a good idea to just discuss showing the different variations. in different ways. So I'm now showing you how to use this mock-up for two different styles. Let's just do one last step here. Let's see if I can find it in my recents. I'm going to open that other mock-up that we worked on. Okay. And let's crop this. And the point of what that I'm trying to make here is that we are going to do, even though we're doing the same design, let's show it to them in different ways. So let's just, let's get in there. It's always a decision. The design is the focus. So there we go. I'm going to go right here. And then we'll export that. Save for web. 1024. Save. It's going in the right place. I'll click this one. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this wood slats part and click this name and just change that part out, because that's all that's changing here is the mock-up template, and hit save. All right, hey, thanks for being on this great team. We appreciate you very much. I hope this wasn't too long and it was a very informative lesson. All right, have a great day.